Look, if I'm preaching without love, do I have the desire for you to be drawn closer to God? If I don't have love, I'm just speaking here so that hopefully one day you guys will move to Tustin, and one day that you guys will be able to come to my church. You're still welcome if you want to. If you, what would serving look like? What would helping other people look like if you didn't have love? Hey, can you help me that trip? Yeah, sure. Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Right? Well, yeah, sure. Like, you'll just throw that in. You just kind of throw that in. You'll do with encouragement. Like, you'll have so much encouragement. It's like, I don't want to. Alright, sure, whatever. Or maybe it kind of looks like community hours. Community service, right? How many of you guys have to fulfill like a certain amount of hours for high school? 40 hours. 40 hours. Do we enjoy it? Unless you're working at church, right? Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Okay. Now, in 13 it talks about love. We won't go into it. Please read it in your own time. Love needs to be present as you display your gifts to one another. Because I mentioned it in the beginning. If you display your gifts without love, you're only going to break down the church. You're going to look at one another and say, dude, man, your gifts doesn't really matter. Like, it's my time to shine, okay? Give me the mic. But when you do it in love, you'll affirm them. You say, man, you matter. If your parents were to move to another state or city, and you end up leaving with them, we're losing a big part of the body. Something needs to feel different, and someone leaves, right? And we're missing an encourager. So affirm the gifts that each and every one of you guys have. And do it in what? Love. Do you love your brothers and sisters in this room? Now look to the person you don't like. I'm just joking. Look to the person that you know. Okay, look to the person that you know pretty well. Look to the person that you don't know. Look to the person you don't know that well. Very well. All guys are good. All guys are good. All guys are good. Okay, now look at me. Now look at me. Look up here.
Yeah.
Alright, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, yeah, look to me, but I don't know why I said that. Dang it. It's so important. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. So, you guys just looked at people you know well, people that you don't know very well, people that you can kind of, you know, approach them and be like, I know I don't know you very well, but I would like to get to know you. But regardless of who you look at, it doesn't matter because you guys are at one church. And they all have gifts. And affirm one another. Hey, I can really see you being good at encouraging people. I can see you being really good at evangelizing. I can see you in the future that you're going to one day become a pastor. I can see you one day that you're going to become a missionary. Okay? Whatever it may be, right? We need to affirm one another. Okay, I'm losing you guys. Look at me, please. I'm almost done. So let's stop working for ourselves. Let's stop working to gain attention from the world. But let's start working for the kingdom. Amen. Let's start working for the church. Because guys, part of our testimony is when we entered into 2019, I remember my wife looked at me in December 2018 and said, I think 2019 is going to be a very hard year. And it's crazy because this pastor from Berkeley, we talked to him. And it was pretty crazy because after we got back from honeymoon, we missed our flight back home to LA, and we talked to the front desk and said, hey, like, is there any available flight from, because we're coming back from Hawaii, back to LA later in the night. And then she was like, yeah, like it's gonna be in like 9 hours. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's not even worth it to go back out, get another rental car, and hang out. But I said, okay, is there a flight to San Francisco? Because my friend had lived out in San Francisco, and I was like, hey, why don't we stay the night with him? And she's like, yeah. And so we flew out to San Francisco. And, we landed at night and we slept, and then in the morning we hung out in Berkeley. And Hannah's old pastor, he wanted to meet with us, and he started asking me things about ministry. And this was before all the crazy stuff started happening with the church. And he said to me, and me and Hannah, he said, I think that one day your church is going to go through a split, and you guys are going to end up leaving for the things that you've done right, for standing up for something just. And then the latter, I'm not going to share because it's in the country. But and so a couple months after, we entered 2019. It was about February, and our church has gone through a lot of turmoil and a lot of ugly stuff. That was just, it was just boiling and boiling and boiling, and it eventually erupted. And in February, and Pastor Jack kind of knows as well, because me and another pastor, we've been sharing with our prayer group, and it was just so hard. And cops would come to our church, they were pushing and shoving, and things just got messy and ugly. And one day in summer, I remember, we would kind of meet up with our other pastors at night, talk on the phone, and say, hey, like, what are your plans for the future with this church? What are you going to do? When are you going to leave? And, obviously we can't all sit down at the same time, so when do you want to leave? And there's just kind of, looking back, the thought that, the idea of having that conversation with our friends, like, when are you going to leave? It's just really sad, right? And, and eventually, I think about in October or September, our church split, because things got so messy. And our little kids were witnessing adults fighting, and cops coming, and calling the ambulance, and things like that, right? And things got just so ugly. And me and my friend were talking, and we said, man, this is how the whole church is supposed to look like. It was crazy to me because I thought, these are adults. These are like your parents' age. Like 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds just fighting and screaming at each other, and ugly stuff coming out, and compiling evidence, and it went to the court, and we're having, they sued us, and it was just ugly. And I said, we looked at each other like, let's leave. I don't want to stay in this church. And so eventually I got fired from that church because there were two sides, and almost all the pastors got fired. And they try to put a TRO on us, which means temporary restraining order. If I step my foot into the building, it's illegal. They could call the cops on me. But the TRO didn't go through in the court. But I got fired, right? We got fired. So that means that I can walk into the church and I can preach, but I can't preach. If I start preaching, they'll call the cops on me. I could go to jail. Right? And so my pastors, all the pastors, we decided, hey, let's come out of the building and let's go to Tustin. Let's find somewhere in Tustin. And so that's why we're in Tustin. Right now we don't have a current church name, but that's where we are right now. Why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because it can go to that extent. If all of us, we don't come to an agreement, if the gospel is at the center of our foundation and agreement, things can get really messy and ugly. Guys, the gospel, the message, the Bible, the prayer and worship has to be the foundation of all of us. You guys have the ability to either break down the church or unite the church. And I hope you guys choose to do the latter. I hope you guys choose to look at one another and say, I love you, you're special, you're gifted, and you're needed in this church. Can we pray? And Hannah, if you want to come up here to lead the ministry to help me. I want to spend time praying. I know that yesterday we spent praying with our classes, but I really want to do that after delivering this message. To be able to look at one another and say, man, you're special. And we're going to have the time to do that, okay? I think this generation, I think us, all of us, okay, whether we're old, whether we're young, whether we're in middle school, high school, college, it doesn't matter. I think this is something that we can start practicing, something that we can start doing is this. Whether it's a guy to guy, okay, we're gonna do this, not with a girl and a guy, but guy to guy and girl to girl. But I want you guys to look at one another within your classes and say, I love you. Okay, and not right now, okay? Not right now. But we're gonna have a chance to really just look him in the eyes and say, I can really see you doing this. Don't do it right now, but we're gonna have time later. But I can see you really having the heart of encouragement. And you guys are gonna have a chance to pray for one another. And we're taking baby steps, guys. I want us to take baby steps. I want us to really look at one another, okay? And you don't have to force yourself to say like, you're gifted in this, you're gifted in that. But just affirm, just tell one another, look, you're special. You're needed in this church. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to pray for ourselves. We're going to pray individually. If you have a word, you can come up. Let's all close our eyes. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest. Now all eyes closed, please. There's no need to look at others. Okay? If you guys have been feeling like, man, I'm worthless. If you've been feeling like, man, I don't think I have much value in this family. Number one, stop listening to the lies of the enemy. Number two, don't indulge in the lies, but let's come before God. Say, God, I am who you say I am. I am not what the world tells me I am. I am not, maybe for some of you guys have grown up hearing from your parents, what are you good at? Maybe you guys have grown up with your siblings, and your older brother, your older sister looked at you one day in the eyes What are you good at? What are you gifted in? So if this is you, okay, all eyes closed, please. If you've been feeling worthless, if you've been feeling, man, I don't have much value in this family. Can you guys stand to your feet? Let's all be honest. Let's just be honest. You don't have to force yourself to stand up. But if this is really you, if this is really you, okay, all eyes closed. Place your hand on your heart. Place your hand on your heart. And pray this. Pray that you will stop listening to the lies of the enemy. Because what the enemy tries to do is this. He tries to divide the church. The more we try to be united, the more he's going to try to break down the church. And it starts with you. It starts with you. The enemy knows your weak spot and says, dude, get out of here. You don't belong in this church. You don't belong in this body. There's so many other encouragers in this body, they don't need you. But let me tell you the truth. The Spirit distributes gifts to all of you guys. All of you guys have gifts. And all of you guys matter to this church. I didn't make this up, but I read this in the Bible for you guys. If this is you, place your hand on your heart and start praying that you'll stop listening to the lies of the enemy. And that you'll start to be more sensitive to the voice of the Spirit. So pray. Pray with your own voice. Let's start praying. Don't look at me. Close your eyes. Pray. Start praying. I don't want to listen to the lies of the enemy. But I want to listen to you, God. Let's start praying. Jesus, I pray, Father, for all these students, God. And if they've been feeling worthless, if they've been feeling like they have no value in this church, Lord, I pray that right now that they will stop listening to the lies of the enemy. Father, I pray that they'll start listening to your Spirit. Father, I pray that they'll come before you, Lord. God, I pray that they'll come before you and ask you, God, so that they'll be immersed in the truth, so that they'll read the Word, so that they'll spend time with you in prayer. Look, it is so easy, guys. It is so easy for you guys to feel like you guys don't have any value. But the Holy Scripture, the Word, says that you guys do. And God intended you to be here. God has orchestrated things in your life so that you can end up here and that you can be put into practice. So, we're going to practice this, okay? We're going to practice being one body. If you guys, you know, for those of you guys who are sitting, if your neighbors are standing up right now, I want you guys to pray with them. Pray for them. Pray for them. Let's be a family here, okay? There's no, for those of you guys who stand up, there's no shame. Let's lay our hands. Let's lay our hands on the people who stand up. And can we start interceding for them? Can we start praying for them? Can we start praying that they'll stop listening to the lies of the enemy, but they'll start listening to God? So let's pray for them. Church, family, pray. Let's pray for them.
up when there was a prayer of, if you feel worthless in the church. But as I was praying, I feel like a little bit deeper. I feel like as we were praying, I just feel like there's some of you where it's almost like this self-hatred, like this self-loathing, where you almost don't even like waking up in the morning and seeing yourself every day. And you're like, you're ashamed of who you are. And you really don't like the person that you see. And you don't see that you're made in the image of the Son of God. And I don't know why, but when I was praying that, I felt like there's like a deep inner work of just lack of self-love. Not in a worldly way, but in a way where we love the way that God made us because He now lives in us. But I feel like some of you are still stuck in that. And maybe why some of you have a harder time of knowing how to love others is because you also don't know how to love yourself. The way God has made you, the way that God has called you. And so right now I just want to invite, if that's you, to prayer. Let's all close our eyes and a little bit deeper. You're like our brothers and sisters in this room where you feel like you've been battling that it's just your worth and your life is probably just worth not that much. Why try? Better if I just end my life. Why try? I hate this life that I live. I hate who I am. I have nothing to offer. I don't like what I see every day. If that's you and you feel like God is like tugging your heart, I just want to invite you to begin to offer that up to the Lord. And let's go. Because as we've been praying for people throughout this retreat and hearing stories from our counselors, we feel like there's people where you feel like your life doesn't mean much. And it doesn't mean much, and so it's okay if you're able to end it even. If that's you, I just want you to begin to pray. And confess that to God. That you just don't like the way that you are.